Welcome to Reflections on Art, Episode 3. My name is Melissa Corbett. I am an Australian artist living in Spain and the editor of this podcast. Today, I am joined with Chiara Gomicelli and Tatiana Ostapenko to discuss how to create an audience for your art. This will be a multiple episode mini-series with today's discussion focusing on how artists can use ideas from marketing to build a financially viable art business, as well as discuss how we should measure our own success. Chiara, can you introduce a bit about your marketing background and your artist coaching business?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Melissa. Hi, Tatiana. Hi, everybody. And thank you for having me here. And I used to be in the digital marketing, let's call it industry. I had a startup and I was working on the digital marketing side. And last year I decided to dedicate myself to art and to create also a coaching business for artists. Because I really believe in artists should be able to reach their audience, reach their people, and be able to sell. I think that, as we are talking tonight, social media are great opportunities for artists, and I would love to use my knowledge for helping artists.
Fantastic, thank you. Tatiana, would you share with us some of your experiences of running a successful business as a full-time artist and what you've learned from marketing?
Hi, it's great to be here. Hi, Melissa. Hi, Chiara. I have both experience with real-life marketing and outreach and exhibitions as a self-represented artist and a part-time curator. But especially recently, now that we are in the middle of the pandemic and the United States still definitely in the middle of it, and in the lockdown, all of my marketing and sales efforts have gone online primarily. And during this time, I have actually seen an increase in sales and activity and audience growth for me, because I think that there are channels for the artists to introduce their work to others, to other audiences. And I think more of our potential audiences are online and easier reachable, and people are starved for culture and events and something that breaks up their routine of, working on the computer for 6 hours, 7 hours, 10 hours, and then watching their Netflix. So this is where artists can come in and really capitalize on new audiences.
Excellent, thank you. I have a question for both of you. Has social media and e-commerce opened up more opportunities for artists to make a living outside of the gallery system? You kind of just briefly touched on that, Tatiana, but I'd like to hear from both of you about this.
Yes, Melissa, absolutely. I am a strong believer of trying alternative means of operating in the world, and not just in the art world, but I find the gallery system quite limiting. It's very exclusive, and for the most part, there are way more artists than there are gallery representation opportunities. Mm. However, there's also a large art-loving public that is not necessarily a gallery goer type of public that artists can reach directly via social media. And when having e-commerce platforms, they can sell directly to that public. And I'm always about cutting out the middleman anyway.
Excellent. Chiara, what are your thoughts on social media opening up a new audience for artists outside of the gallery system?
Well, for me, for what I see, what I've seen, I think social media give a great opportunity to artists, especially to artists that are at the beginning of their career, so that their prices are not so high, and they can manage to build up their career by working more, because they are getting money from their art instead of having to do other jobs. So I really believe that social media can open up this part of the career and make it probably faster, because once you get also the audience, probably also galleries and other entities will reach more for artists. I believe that probably galleries are a bit behind schedule on this side, but I suppose that the artists that will work now on their social media presence and communicating and building up their audiences will definitely have an advantage once the galleries keep up with the market. So I definitely believe social media and internet and e-commerces are a great way for building a career. Excellent. Also because as Tatiana said, people are starving for art. They are starving for I believe art is a need for the soul of everyone, and the more people get in touch with it, and they want more, and being in touch with artists through social media is definitely the best way they can feel this soul need.
Excellent. Thanks, Chiara. I remember you saying that there's something called a buyer persona. Can you explain what that is?
Yeah, sure. The famous buyer persona that is the nightmare for every marketer, more or less. Well, the buyer persona is a very, let's say, simple but very effective way. One of the mistakes we make when we try to sell products in general, and of course our art too, is that we feel that our product is needed by everyone and everybody has to be reached. But this is not the good way to proceed. So the buyer persona means you find the perfect buyer for your product, for your art in this case, and you create a person, a description of this person, and you can go as deep as you want. You can even create a persona which has like where she lives and what does she buys for grocery. You can really go as deep as you want. And everything can give you elements for then targeting your marketing and your advertising. And of course, buyer persona, as I said, is good to be limited. But of course, there is not only one buyer persona for each one of us. So my suggestion is to start from one buyer persona that maybe can be the easiest one to reach, or the one that you already know. So for example, look at your previous buyers and build up your buyer persona from there. And then you can build other buyer persona and target in different way each category of clients, of possible clients, based on your buyer persona that can become multiple buyer personas.
Excellent. Thank you for that description. Tatiana, have you ever sat down and created a buyer persona for your work? Can you tell us a bit about your buyer persona?
Yes, absolutely. So when I went full-time a year and a half ago, I invested in an art marketing course from a marketing professional who was working like in a museum setting. And she created this course for self-represented independent artists. And this was one of the first exercises that you do. It's just a very fundamental marketing step. And what was really interesting for me, and I think it might be a really interesting way to think for a lot of artists, because often we come from a place of lack in terms of our sales or our hopes for financial stability via our art making. She didn't even call it a buyer persona. She called it the ideal customer, like the ideal buyer. So it wasn't even only basing it on our previous experience, because some of us might not even have previous experience of selling artwork. It was, who is it that you really want to work with? So kind of start from the top and then, backtrack to how you can meet that person. My ideal buyers, and actually my majority of my clients, my patrons, fit into my ideal buyer persona that I created back then. They tend to be primarily female. They are older, I'd say 45 plus. They definitely have either a strong lifelong interest in art in general, in the arts in general, but often in painting specifically. Perhaps they had a friend or a family member who was a painter. Maybe they just really love it for whatever reason. They're the kind of person that when they visit a new city, they go to the local art museum to get the feel for the history and the culture of that place. They tend to be very well traveled and have a higher level of education. Not often in humanities, often it is people in the sciences and in medicine. So they're fantastic, interesting, wonderful people. That's why I'm always offering studio visits, because I feel that I benefit from my studio visits more than my visitors do, because I get to learn so much from my clients.
Excellent. Okay. Well, that is a nice lead into how exactly do you promote your studio visits? Are you using social media and email marketing, or a combination of the two?
I personally have found that email marketing is more effective, because even with the open rates for email marketing, I don't want to get too technical and marketing, but even though email sometimes goes to spam folders, sometimes people are too busy, they're overwhelmed with email, especially right now that everybody's working from home. But statistically, the reach of your email, even with all of those impediments, is still so much higher and so much better than being at the mercy of the social media algorithm. So when I launch a campaign, I go both ways. And also, don't forget about those direct messages. If you already have, as an artist, a relationship with a buyer, or not even a buyer, just someone who's expressed interest, they've said something about your work, or they've made a comment, you can always send them a message. And it doesn't have to be salesy. That's the problem that a lot of artists have with marketing, right? It feels pushy and salesy. It's really helpful to think about it more. This is just a skilled means of reaching those people who actually, like Chiara said, really want your work, and it's food for their soul, and they have been deprived of it for so many months now. So don't think about the salesy and pushy.
That's a really good point. I have a friend who saw an artwork by an acquaintance, and she messaged this acquaintance to find out more about the artwork. And my friend said, "Oh, I'm interested in buying it." But then some work stuff happened, and it's not really clear when she's going to get another job. So she's kind of had to put other financial commitments on hold until she's worked out her job situation. And this artist was very pushy, unfollowed her on Instagram. And I don't think that sale's going to happen now, even when my friend does get a job, because I'm sure she will. But yeah, I think it's a very good point about not being so nervous to make the sale that you keep on pushing someone, because you just don't know what someone's circumstances might be, and that they might have changed. So it's better to build the connection and, foster it over time.
I think about marketing as relationship building. It's just, again, skillful, proven techniques that facilitate this relationship building. And, Chiara being the marketing expert, she will know more about the actual numbers. But I hear that, you need 10 touches or sometimes up to 30 interactions of different kinds in order to even bring a sale. And it doesn't mean that when you start with the first one, there will necessarily be a sale. And some of my clients I have nurtured and had conversations with for years before making a sale. It's a long game.
That's an excellent point. Thank you, Tatiana. Chiara, what are your thoughts on relationship building?
Well, I totally agree. I think that social media in the past 10-15 years changed completely the relationship of people with buying. So people expect relationships even from Coca-Cola. So if you think from this point of view, how can you expect that they don't expect a relationship from someone that they are buying a piece of their soul in a way? Because the artist, what we do is putting ourselves in the pieces. And so if you're buying a piece of that artist in a way, let's say, of course you want to have a relationship because you feel something because of the piece. And in a way, people need also to know that what they feel in front of the piece is felt also from the artist. They want the exchange with the artist about these feelings. So this creates a much easier sale in the long run. Probably it will create a repetitive sale, and definitely relationship are a must for making a career, because also you never know where the relationship can bring, what that person can bring to the table. There is an interesting concept that I want to share, is that usually we can have three kind of audiences, and we can have the client, and there it's the final client, and then we have the collaborations, which are people that maybe are not going to buy, or at least are not going to buy now, but that can bring interesting leads in their community, maybe to make an exhibition, or they can have a friend that will buy your piece. And of course, if you nourish the relationship, they will be more prone to open up their collaboration and be open to help you promote yourself. Even if you think about it, is if they like you, if you have a relationship with them, if you send them a message and ask them for their help, they are gonna be helping much easier if you've built a relationship. And then, of course, you have the third kind of audience, that is the community. That is also like people that love your work. Maybe you will never be able to afford it, to have it, but still they are like your supporters, and we all need supporting our cheerleaders. So it's good to have also this kind of audience, even if in the short term it can seem that it doesn't bring any money in, let's say. So relationships are really important. You never know where the next sale is coming from. And about this, actually, I wanted to say another thing about what you said, that sometimes we tend to be very pushy, but also sometimes we tend to be very shy. So it's very good to stay in the middle and become aware of where the person you're talking to is definitely a skill that is needed, and we have to learn. Sometimes we are too pushy because we are scared of the no. Sometimes we are too shy because we are scared of the no, and it's something that we can learn. It's definitely a skill, but finding the right middle is definitely the thing that we have to learn to do.
Excellent. That is a really great overview of the process of building relationships. Thanks so much, Chiara. Going on with the point of view of audience, what is the amount of reach or influence you need to have on social media to make sales outside of the gallery system?
Well, I don't think there is really a number, because many times in the social medias, we have what we call the how it's in English, some measurements that are just vanity measurements, because it's just it's good to see that people, more followers, more likes, more stuff like that, but maybe they are not the right one. So it's always very important also to be very focused on the three audiences we need, but really know them, have the buyer persona. We go back. I mean, it's really important to know who you're talking to in each case. And And therefore, if you really know your buyer persona or your ideal client, you might need really few people to that you need to reach, because they will see your stuff and they are going to buy it. I don't like calling art stuff, so sorry. So they're going to see your art and they are going to want it, right? And so sometimes we look at the big numbers just because we feel that we need to have them. We are not supposed to be influencers. And we're not getting money because we are going to promote and sell other people's stuff and other people's products. That's why influencers need big numbers. As artists, of course, it can be useful, because the bigger the audience, the bigger the probability you have to reach the right person. But that's not the focus. Being focused should be the focus.
Excellent. Can you tell us a bit about your buyer persona, Chiara, for your artworks?
Well, for my artworks, for example, I didn't really have a buyer persona yet. I didn't work on that because I didn't start pushing on my sales, and because I was working on my book right now, so I was still like in a phase in between. Mm-hmm. But if I think about the people that contacted me or that bought my stuff, I see that is also mainly female, actually. They might be a bit younger than Tatiana, for example, probably 28 to 40. Mm-hmm. And I notice my art is perfect for presents most of the time. And being connected to physical places, physical places like cities or places people visited. I received a lot of requests for birthday presents, for example, and the people are actually asking for presents for older people. So my client is a younger person that wants my works for older people. And for example, knowing that my art is good for making a present, or maybe for an anniversary, or maybe somebody that I received is also like coming back from a honeymoon to have a painting done from the places they've been in the honeymoon. So those are information that are useful to making the marketing and to targeting the clients. So I can have advertising done directly for that occasion. And for example, you can target people that by their birthday. You can target people by the search they have done. So probably I could really easily target all the people that came back, 2 weeks ago from their honeymoon, or 1 month ago from their honeymoon. It's not good to know somehow, but we are very, very targeted on social media. So it's bad from the personal point of view, but from the business point of view, it's a great opportunity.
Okay, thank you. How would you define being a successful artist? Tatiana, would it be making a living from art, or is it gallery representation and museum shows?
I would really refrain from making a generalized statement, because I think that success should be measured as a personal level of satisfaction. So I think for someone who works a 9-to-5 job and spends all their spare time painting, and they have wanted to do that all their life, but they didn't start until they're in their mid-50s. If that is what they've always wanted to do, they're a successful artist. They're making art. They're doing what they want to do. I am sure that museum shows and winning prestigious prizes and being represented by top blue chip galleries is the standard for artist success. However, I'm more interested in a world that is less top down. So for me, I definitely don't define success like that. for me, just being able to reach wider audiences. So yes, I'm going to speak for me. Like, how do I feel? What would I feel like success looks like for me, or like increasing levels of success? Just being able to make a living from selling my artwork feels like an amazing honor and a fantastic opportunity that I never thought would be possible for me, and it's happening. So it's pretty successful as far as I'm concerned. But would I like to reach wider audiences? Would I like to show my work at platforms, again, that reach more people? Absolutely. And there is a vanity measure for me to see my work in a really beautiful space. I am not against that white box gallery. I think my paintings look great in a big white box, traditional contemporary styled gallery. And sure, if a museum wants to show my work, no problem. But I do think that it is very important to define our goals and our success based on what is our true heart's desire, rather than the outside imposed societal ideas of what success looks like.
Excellent. Chiara, can you share your thoughts on what it is to be a successful artist, or a successful artist for yourself? How would you define being a success?
Yes, Melissa. I really thank Tatiana for what she said, because I really think she centered the point. Success can be different from each one of us. So it's really something personal, and I really think it's something we have to focus to find for ourselves and continuously find, because of course success will change over time. Our idea of success will change over time. And so that this is something definitely that everybody needs to do, and not only artists. I mean, people in life in general, because we tend to do, and I talk for myself in the past, I've taken career choices that were just pushed by family, by what I thought my friends would think I would be cool if I was doing, and what would give me security, etc. But I never felt I was successful, even if I was successful from the societal point of view. So this is something that when I really started looking at what success was for me and what was important in my life and what I wanted to do, and art became so preponderant, and I really decided that I wanted to pursue this way, I really saw that everything I do and every small achievement I can do is a big success. It's bigger than the successes I had before, because it's something I really want to do. So this really shifted my way of being, my mindset, and it really made me happier all the time. It's much easier to be happy now. And in general, for me, success from the artist point of view, I think I really like the idea that people will feel joyful and peaceful and, have good memories by looking at my paintings, and have like positive emotions coming from looking at my paintings. So in a way I like to produce fast paintings, because I really like to work fast. So I really like the idea that my art can reach more people, more audience. So make it very affordable, even if not original. Maybe make prints and other things. I don't feel that if my art get on a T-shirt is something that is like, oh my God, no, art should not be on a T-shirt because you wash it, right? And so for me, art is for me, my art could be a consumable. It's something that you can wear, you can bring with you, and will always cheer you up every time you take your notes in a notebook with a cover from a place you have been or whatever. Because I really like my art to be connected to some memories or some emotions that people felt. Yeah, that's it. Love one day to see my art in a gallery, but until I have a studio that I can do something bigger, I don't see my art in the big galleries that are around right now. So who knows?
Making work for big galleries comes with its own issues. I've experimented with creating installations, and I have the problem of, well, how would I sell a 3-meter installation that's for the floor? And so I've really had to come to terms with what it means to be a successful artist, in that maybe I'm not creating work that can really be purchased by anyone. And how does that affect what my art business is if I'm creating work that's not really able to be sold or to be made into consumables? So I think both of you have really good points in that, you know, we define what is our own success. And I think for me at the moment, it is creating important works that maybe can't go onto someone's living room wall, but that means I'd sacrifice sales to do that and to change what it is that my art business is. So I've learnt to pivot recently, which is good. And it's excellent, your point about things change over time, Chiara. So thank you so much, both of you, for joining me here again on Reflections on Art. And I look forward to our next adventure. I hope everyone who is listening is having a great day wherever they are in the world. Thank you so much. Goodbye.